Hi guys, shout out to Bruce. I'm sorry that you forgot to bring your football pants to school on Friday, but I'm happy that you then came for tutoring. Next time when you come, maybe we can do a little bit more work and you can help me get everyone else that's there focused instead of distracting, and we're going to keep working on that. Alright, so everyone should have a paper that looks like this. Yours is going to be split down the middle. You're only going to have one side of that. Graphing ordered pairs. This is going to be a quick review of how we can graph points. Alright, so let's start with this part over here. We've got 4 sections of our graph, and they're called quadrants. This is going to be our first quadrant. This is quadrant 1, and quadrant, in case you're wondering, quadrant, Q-U-A-D-R-A-N-T is how you spell quadrant. So this is quadrant 1. Over here, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay, hopefully you're copying these notes down on your paper. If you notice, they go counterclockwise. The quadrants go counterclockwise. This is the up and down vertical axis is our y-axis. And then our left to right horizontal axis is our x-axis. Okay, this middle point right here, that is called the origin, O-R-I-G-I-N, and that is the 0, 0 point. When you were in quadrant 1, these points are always x is positive and y is positive. So everything over here in this first quadrant is always positive. When we rotate around to our second quadrant here, now we have x is negative, but y is still positive. Then we come down to quadrant 3, and both the x and the y are going to be negative. And then in quadrant 4, our x becomes positive and our y stays negative. So that kind of gives you a hint if you're plotting points. If they're both positive, they're going to be somewhere in this section. If the x is negative and the y is positive, it'll be somewhere over in this quadrant. If both of them are negative, it'll be over in this quadrant somewhere. And if the x is positive and y is negative, it'll be somewhere over in this fourth quadrant. Okay, so we're going to need this on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about graphing and plotting points. So this information is helpful. Now let's look at how we actually plot them on the graph. So you will always have an ordered pair x comma y. If the x is positive, that tells us that we are going to the right. If the x is negative, that tells us that we are going to the left. And then underneath of this, you're going to write, this is always first. The x is always first in an ordered pair. We're going to be talking about slope, and sometimes we get confused then, but when you have an ordered pair and you're plotting points, not talking about slope, talking about putting a point on a graph, the x always comes first. Then we have our y. When the y is positive, that tells us that we're going up. When the y is negative, that tells us to go down. And this is always last. So this y in an ordered pair is always the last point. So in an ordered pair, when we have the parentheses, and then a number, a comma, a number. X is always first, y is always last. And then use this information here to kind of point you in the right direction. Where we're going right, or we're going left, or we're going up, or we're going down. All right, so I'm going to try a couple. All right, so let's say we want to plot the point 2, -4. So the x is first, and it's a positive 2, so that means we go right 2. So you're going to start here, always start at the origin, and we go over right 2. The y is last, that's a -4. So after we went, starting at the origin, we went right 2, you're going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So that's your point. Let's try another one. Let's try -3 and then 5. So your first one here is x, and that's a negative 3. So you start at the origin, and we're going to go left 3. So over here. Our last part is 5. It's a positive 5. So that means after we started here at the origin, and we went left 3, we're going to go up 5. Okay? And that's where we will plot our point. So you start at the origin. The first number is our x, is our left and our right. The last number, second number is our y, and that's the up and the down. Make sure you have the notes page filled out. We're going to include that into our IMB. And I'll see you later.